Let us pray. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. I'm not sure if the names Tevye and Gold ring a bell for you or not, but they are characters from the iconic musical Fiddler on the Roof. Tevye and Gold are a married couple and the parents of 5 daughters. Now, the plot centers on Tevye's attempts to maintain his religious and cultural traditions as outside influences encroach upon his family's lives. Sound somewhat relatable, can it not? Now, there's one scene from the musical in which Tevye is asking his beloved Gold the question, "Do you love me?" Which seems appropriate given our gospel text for today and its consideration of what it means to love, particularly to love Jesus. Now, in the musical, Gold doesn't appreciate this question at first, but Tevye is very insistent and keeps repeating it. He doesn't settle until she answers. Finally, she replies, "For 25 years I have washed your clothes, cooked your meals, cleaned your house, given you children, milked the cow. After 25 years, why talk about love right now?" A little bit later on, she adds, "For 25 years I've lived with him, fought with him, starved with him. 25 years my debt is his. If that's not love, what is?" Now, the point of this interaction is that love isn't just a feeling that you have for your spouse or for a loved one. It isn't only an emotional state. Love might look like the things that Gold mentioned: cooking and cleaning for someone else, raising children together, enduring the ups and downs of daily living, and doing life together. Love is not limited to what I would call lip service. If we tell someone that we love them, but we never show it, do we really love them? I think it's an important question for us to consider. Love is beyond empty words. It's more than a language. Love is action. It is a verb. It is to do something for someone else. Now, we know that the greatest love is to love unconditionally, to pour out yourself on behalf of someone else. And only Jesus loves us in that way, of humbling himself to the point of enduring the cross and all of its shame, of dying and rising again, not just for one other person, but for all people who believe. In other words, he did it for all of us here this morning. Love is an action. I want to be very clear about that, but let me also be very clear in saying that Jesus is not telling us that we earn God's love by what we do or by our obedience to his commandments. Not at all. Remember the words from 1 John chapter 4, which tell us that God's love always comes first. We respond to God's love for us by the way that we live out our relationship with him and with all those that we consider our neighbors, all those people around us. You might think about it in this way. If you consider our sky, the source of the light around us is from the sun. But at night, the moon is what's shining. The moon doesn't produce any light of its own, but it merely reflects the light of the sun. In a similar way, we reflect, sometimes very dimly, the love that God has shown us in Christ. We reflect this love through obedience to what he's commanded us. As Jesus tells us this morning, "Whoever has my commandments and keeps them, he it is who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and manifest myself to him." To illustrate this point a little bit further, think about what it means to be a parent. In fact, to all the parents and grandparents in the room, I would assume that your love for your children and your grandchildren goes far beyond their obedience to you. In fact, I'm sure that you probably love them despite the things that they do, but you look forward to that day when your children and your grandchildren show their love for you by listening to you and responding to your love for them and love for you by doing those things that you tell them to do out of your love for them. I believe the same is true here. God loved us before we could ever love Him. He proved that by sending Jesus to die for us, to redeem our broken relationship with Him. God has adopted us all as His children through our baptism into Christ, and we are His family. It is pleasing to God when we hear His word, trust in Him, listen to Him, and then obey what He's called us to do. However, we all know that even though Jesus has restored us to a right relationship with God, we aren't always able to maintain that relationship, and we certainly cannot do so on our own. That's why Jesus tells us this. I will ask the Father, and He will give you another helper to be with you forever, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees Him nor knows Him. You know Him, for He dwells with you and will be in you. When you find yourself in those places where you're falling into sin, when your faith is weak, when you don't feel close to God, do not despair. Jesus has promised in our scriptures for today to send the Holy Spirit to be our helper in our relationship with God. Another way of saying that is Jesus is telling us, you aren't alone. Now, the Greek word that's used there for helper is the word paraclete, which means literally advocate. It means that the Holy Spirit stands by our side as an advocate, testifying to us of God's love for us. So today, while we may not see Jesus, while we may not speak to Him face to face, we know that we aren't alone. Jesus has sent the Spirit to be with us, confirmation of God's love. Now, in just a few weeks, we will celebrate the coming of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost. We'll spend some time the following Sunday, Holy Trinity Sunday, basking in the glory of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So we'll have some more robust discussion about the Spirit at that time. But for now, what's important for us to remember and to cling to is the truth that we've already received the Holy Spirit as a gift. Our baptism into Christ. We've been given the Holy Spirit as a comforter, and He serves by comforting us and reassuring us that Christ has restored our relationship with God. He does this as we partake of Word and Sacrament. Through the gospel spoken, poured out in baptism, and offered in, with, and under the bread and the wine, the Spirit proves over and over again that Jesus has reunited you in a perfect, loving relationship with the one true God. The Spirit, even when you're tired, even when you are weary, full of doubt, the Spirit will sustain you in faith and equip you to hold fast and to remain obedient unto God. This doesn't mean that things will ever be perfect in this life. We won't be free from sin and all of its clutches until God calls us home. But even though we are sinners, we are forgiven sinners. That is the essence of our relationship with God. This God who loves us more than we could ever say. My prayer for us as a church and a faith community is that we will respond to this love that God has for us in love, in loving obedience, trusting that in Jesus we are forgiven, that the Holy Spirit is with us as we seek to love God, to love each other, and to serve humanity. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.